Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Freelance Friday podcast. Today, I want to talk about how I would become a full-time content creator if I had to start over from scratch. And ideally, if I had to ramp up my business in, 6 months or so. So I'm going to give you a step-by-step, month-by-month plan of how I would do that. And today's episode is sponsored by ActiveCampaign. ActiveCampaign is an amazing email marketing tool and really so much more than that. And the reason that I wanted to tell you about ActiveCampaign for today's episode is because we're going to be talking about actually building out a sales funnel for your audience and not just relying on getting 1 million views to go full time. Because here's the thing, I don't get 1 million views per video or even multiple hundreds of thousands. You can totally go full time as a content creator with a much smaller audience if you're doing it in a smart way. But that requires having a sales funnel, having an email list, having systems built out in your business, having automations for your emails, and ActiveCampaign can help with all of that. So maybe you get huge on Instagram, you get tons of engagement, people love your work, but it's just not enough. Do you actually want people to buy your product, or do you want to just look cool on Instagram? Social following is incredibly valuable, but when you need to sell, you go to your email list, or at least I certainly do. You have a lot of choices when it comes to email marketing, but I love ActiveCampaign because number one, as a content creator, you want to focus on driving sales from your newsletter, but you also know that personalization is really important. ActiveCampaign allows you to tag your contacts really easily and create really personalized experiences that don't feel, jarring when they come from your social media content to go to like a huge sales pitch. It doesn't have to feel like that at all. Number two, it's so easy to use. There are a ton of features available, including a bunch of AI features that make personalizing your landing pages or your newsletters, your campaign emails so easy, even for somebody who is new to email marketing. They even have a full AI brand kit where you can stylize your templates to your brand automatically. So be sure to check them out. I'll leave a link in the show notes and I'll talk about exactly how you're going to use email marketing, landing pages, all the good stuff throughout the video. So stay tuned for more information on how to actually use it. Okay, so month one, you decide this is it. I want to become a full-time content creator. I'm doing it. I would recommend playing and having fun. I know that sounds like maybe silly advice, but I think it's something that you don't get that opportunity very often. You're not going to get this window of time back. Once you go full time, once you start making an income from your content, it does become a job, obviously. And that doesn't mean that you don't love it. I certainly love my job and I get creative and I have fun and I play, but I'm not able to just really experiment as much as I could in the beginning when I didn't have an audience. Nowadays, if I experiment, I am always thinking about my audience, obviously, making sure that I'm giving you all value. But sometimes it can actually be a little bit stifling to creativity, I think. And it is really important when you get into content creation that you do it because you want to do it. There are a lot of jobs that you can do to make, similar amount of money or even more money that do not require so much of yourself, your personality, your personal style, all of that stuff. So if you don't like it, if you're not having fun with it, don't do it. So play around, have fun with different content styles, content types, different niches even. If I were starting over today, I don't know that I would be a business and entrepreneurship YouTuber. I'm not saying I don't love it, but there's just so many things that I'm passionate about in my life right now. I am passionate about eating healthy. I'm passionate about plant-based eating. I'm passionate about Pilates and working out. And so play around, open up an Instagram account, start a YouTube channel, whatever you're kind of leaning towards initially, and just post a lot of content. Have fun with that content. Play around with making content. Learn the basics, learn how to edit, learn, all of the essential functions essentially of the job. Something that really helped me create a lot of content and just play, quote unquote, when I was first starting was vlogging challenges. So you may have heard of Vlogmas. Some creators choose to vlog every single day leading up until Christmas. And then there's also one called Veda, VEDA, which happens in April and August, vlog every day in April or August. And I did multiple of those everyday vlogging challenges throughout my YouTube career. I have no idea how I did it. I don't know where the energy came from, the stamina, the motivation. But what was cool about those challenges is that, I used the different prompts. Sometimes they were more business focused. Sometimes I was doing more day in the life focused. Sometimes it was more, beauty, fashion, lifestyle focused. And I was able to like get some data from that large test, that large amount of content, that large amount of spaghetti that I was throwing at the wall essentially, and be able to start to make decisions, which is what you really want to do in month 2. In month 2, I recommend niching, really honing in and focusing in on what it is that you want to be known for. Now, there are some exceptions to this. A lot of people will ask me, well, I just want to be a vlogger. I just want to vlog my life. And that is fine, but it's a lot harder to grow a personal vlog channel than to grow a, let's just pretend, Los Angeles vegan channel, right? Like you can still vlog your life and incorporate your personality and just make it a more personal channel, but it has a focus, right? Los Angeles vegans are going to flock to your channel, or anyone who's probably interested in traveling to Los Angeles and is vegan or vegan curious, I suppose. So there are ways to kind of frame it and tweak your idea to make them a little bit more marketable, if you will, or search friendly. And yes, I think it is important to have a niche. I really do. If you are trying to go full time with this, if you're just trying to have fun, vlog your life, I think we need more of that type of content, just like fun, casual, like I'm posting because I want to post content. I think we definitely need more of that. But if you're trying to really monetize this, you do need to have an area of focus. You can expand. That's certainly what I did. Over the years, I went all in, and I'm going to talk about content strategy a little bit more in depth in month 3. But I hit all of the social media manager, social media marketing, social media management. Like that's all that I talked about. Well, nowadays I talk about a lot more. I actually don't even talk about social media management all that much. I sometimes get super out there and I just vlogged a cruise that I was on. So, as your audience grows and people start to care a little bit more about you as a person, you can definitely get a little bit less niched in, I suppose. But in the beginning, you definitely want to choose a keyword or choose a title, choose a niche. And I think that's a good first step is say, okay, what is the keyword that I want to rank for? Like I said, for me, it was social media manager in the beginning of really getting this business going. So think of that and just keep that in the back of your head. So when you're thinking of content ideas, you always have that term or that word or those couple of words to think about. Now, you're also going to want to niche down in terms of platform. Now, we live in a wild social media world nowadays. It's like there's just so many platforms, there's so many types of content to post. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming even for me who does this full time. And I do think it's important to have a presence on, I don't want to say all, but many, because it's just going to expand your reach. It's going to expand your likelihood of reaching the right people. However, in the beginning, once when we're just in this phase of trying to get up, get launched, get paid so you can leave your day job or start your business officially, I think energy is really important. Energy management is really important. And therefore, I think it is in your best interest to focus on one, maybe 2 platforms, really make a name for yourself on that one core platform, and then you can expand out. And again, we'll talk about this in the future months, but I didn't really have an Instagram strategy. Honestly, I don't have an Instagram strategy. I'm like a terrible example of an Instagrammer because it's a secondary platform for me. I know that my target audience is on it and I do use it as a communication tool to talk to my audience, but I don't do a good job of like posting content on there because YouTube is my priority. I want to be known as a YouTuber, and I decided on YouTube because I threw spaghetti at the wall. I saw, okay, there is an audience on this platform that cares about what I have to say. And I was able to, recognize that there was a financial future in YouTube as well. So figure out what you want your niche to be, figure out what your core 1 to 2 platforms are that you really want to focus on. And we can do it all later. We can expand the niche later. We can join the other platforms later. But first things first, just commit to saying, I'm going to post 2 or 3 YouTube videos a week for the next, 5 months, or I'm going to post a daily TikTok or whatever that might be. Like start there. Month 3 is where you really are going to want to refine your content strategy. I already kind of talked about this a little bit when we're thinking about our niche, but think about your keyword. What do you want people to think of when they hear your name? Latasha James, social media manager, Latasha James, freelancing, Bob Smith, men's fashion, Jane Doe, author, first time author tips, right? Like think of what you want people to think of and what you want people to be searching for when they stumble upon your content. So do that as the first step in your content strategy. From there, I would recommend doing a little bit of research, and you can do this in a number of ways. You can do it organically just by searching whatever platform that you are committing to. So for me, I would go on YouTube and I would search those terms. I'd search first time author tips or men's fashion or social media management or whatever that would be, and just get a bit of a lay of the land. Take note of the videos that have been posted relatively recently that have been high performers for other people. Compare that with their following as well. This is important, especially on a platform like YouTube, I think, because if somebody has like 1 million followers or even just multiple hundreds of thousands and their video does well, it doesn't necessarily mean that video is going to do well for you. It could just be that they get a lot of views on all of their videos. So you want to look out for those videos that feel really of the moment, that feel really topical, that feel really search friendly, like that people are searching for actively this year or, the relative like recent past, I suppose. And you never want to copy. I just want to get out there and say that as a content creator, that is such a reputation ruiner to be a copier. It is, again, going back to why are you even doing this if you just want to copy? So don't copy, but certainly learn from those video titles. And again, you can replicate this on any of the other social platforms, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever that might be. Look at what those video titles are. Look at what style the videos are in. Just try to learn from them and figure out, can you create something similar or can you, recreate a general video title, like how to create a social media strategy? Well, 1 million people have done that. I think that's fair game. So make your own version of that in your own unique style. And that's really important because that is what's going to help you build an audience, is your own unique voice and your own unique style. That's what's going to have somebody pick you over me or me over you. It's often not so much of what you're saying or what you're teaching, but just a connection to the content. So let that shine through. But I say start on your content strategy, just knocking out as many of those SEO friendly videos as possible. And the reason for this is because SEO content tends to be a slower growth type of content. I have videos that tanked. I have many videos that tanked upon upload. They got lower than average views on the first 30 days, 60 days even sometimes, and they just absolutely took off 100 days, 200 days, sometimes a couple years later. And these types of videos can be really, really valuable for you because they're what really, solidifies your brand and connects you to that key search term. So you want to get those out of the way and you want to get those to start working for you in the background and building that SEO value as you're doing these other things. It's also the most high value content, in my opinion. When I react to a trend, or even when I do my social media news series, which is really popular, it gets a lot of first initial 30-day views. It kind of dies after that. People don't want to hear about news from, 2 months ago anymore. So think about that. Think about SEO content as an investment in your brand. Now, you can also do research on this using tools. There are plenty out there. One that I really like is called Answer the Public. You type in the search term and it gives you a bunch of queries and phrases based around that term. So that can be a good one to kind of start to look at and say, what can I make a video about? Which questions can I answer? And so on. Month 3, set up an email list. Set up an email list. And I know nobody's watching yet. I know it's early in your journey and you might not even know what the heck you would say to somebody if they joined your email list yet. That's okay. Just set one up so it is there. So if people are really enjoying your content and they open up your description box or they go to your profile on Instagram or TikTok, they have a place to further connect with you. Emails are going to be so important when it comes to all of your monetization strategies when it comes to selling product, performing services, getting sponsors, or really any other way that a content creator can make money. So just make sure that for me, it would be linked in my YouTube description box. Get notified of new videos or join the club, or, you can phrase it however you want to, but just have a simple email sign up. Again, you can use ActiveCampaign for that. Really easy to create a simple form. It'll take you like 5 minutes maximum. Just pop that in there. I'm telling you, you're gonna need that email list in the months to come. Month 4 is when I really want you to start thinking about that monetization plan. How do you want to make money as a content creator? And obviously you should be thinking about this from the beginning too. Really all of these things, you're probably going to be thinking about from month 1, but this is when to really take action on it. And you've probably had a little bit of experience. Hopefully you've had a little bit of success. You've seen some, movement in your videos or content, whatever you're posting, that you can realistically say, all right, I know a little bit about my audience. I know that they tend to ask me for links all the time. They ask me what I'm wearing all the time. Okay, cool. Well, one of your big monetization strategies is probably going to be affiliate links then, or maybe sponsorships even, because you can recommend them products. If okay, my audience, they have been asking me for services. I've been talking about marketing or graphic design and what it's like to be a graphic designer, and they're asking to hire me. Well, then that one of your core offerings is probably going to be a done-for-you service or something like that. So, you got to take a little bit of time, I think, to learn who your audience is and just kind of learn what's working and which of these terms and types of videos and things like that are performing for you. But really, there are a few, I would say, essential things that I want every content creator to have, at least in the beginning. You can take some of these away and you can certainly add to them. But I would say, first up, I want you to have something to sell people. And this can be something as small as a coffee mug. It can be as big as a high-ticket online course. It obviously depends on what your niche is. But for me, I launched my first course ever. I think I launched it at $19. So it was a real no-brainer type of product for people to buy if they were enjoying my content. And it didn't get me rich by any means, but when it came time to leave my day job, I was earning around $1,000 every month from that $19 digital product. So it wasn't everything. It wasn't all of my bills by any means, but it was like half of my rent at that point in my life. And that made it a lot easier for me to be able to take the leap and go full-time in my business, because I only had to make, $1,000 or $2,000 more dollars to survive. It just took a lot of that pressure away. So think about a product that you can sell directly to your audience. The next thing to think about is a service. I think it is important, at least in the beginning, if it makes sense for you, to be able to, as I like to say, create money out of nothing. Now it's not nothing, because your labor absolutely has value and it takes time and all of that stuff. But if there's a rainy day and you're like, for some reason, people aren't buying, they don't want t-shirts or whatever, or I don't have access to a fulfillment center to sell physical products, or whatever the case may be, you can always get on camera and tell your audience, hey, I'm opening up the ability to work with me to do XYZ. Men's fashion could be virtual style consultations or virtual closet cleanouts. The first-time author kind of tips could be a proofreading service or a profile audit for your author brand. There could be a lot of different things. Obviously, a social media manager can do social media for people. So think of a service that you can offer and have that available on your website. Create a landing page, create a whole sales funnel for that. And then the last thing I think is important to think about for creators is some type of brand work. You can work with brands as a sponsor, so they can sponsor your content, meaning they pay you to, promote certain offerings that they have or services or products or whatever that might be, and they pay you a flat fee of that. There are pros and cons to that though, because sometimes, especially early in your journey, well, number one, it's hard to get sponsors early in your journey. If you don't have a following yet, if you are not getting high engagement on your content, if you don't have case studies of brands that you've worked with in the past, it can be obviously hard to ask people for money. So that's one drawback to it. But aside from that, it can also sometimes take away some of your creative freedom and Also, maybe compromise some of your connection with your audience. I think once you become more established, you've got a track record of, hey, I'm not a total sellout. I'm a good person. I really like creating this content. But in the beginning, if you just start becoming kind of a spam bot, that can sort of put people off. The other way that you could work with brands that sometimes feels a little bit more organic and natural is by becoming an affiliate. And don't sleep on this, you guys. You can make a lot of money as an affiliate. And that basically just means, hey, if I recommend you ActiveCampaign, for example, and you make a purchase using my affiliate link, I'm going to get a percentage of that sale. And so what's nice about it is you don't have to deal with the order fulfillment. You also don't need to necessarily be sponsored by that brand to talk about it. There are products like, this water bottle. I could say, hey, do you want this water bottle? It's really cute, isn't it? I'm going to send you the affiliate link. They have no idea who I am and that I'm recommending it. And therefore, they're not dictating what I can say about it or telling me when I need to post. So it can just lend to a little bit more creative freedom. But I would say start thinking about those three things. What product are you going to offer? What service are you going to offer? And what way do you want to work with brands? And more specifically, what types of brands do you want to work with? Start writing them down, start listing out dream brands, start following them, start connecting with them, start building relationships with them as best as you can so that when you send that pitch email through, it is not a surprise and they're ready for you. They are wanting you. Month 5, focus on systems. Again, throughout this whole period, you're going to be posting content. You're going to be using that content strategy that I talked about. You're going to be posting consistent content. You're going to be building up, hopefully, your email list a little bit. You're going to be building out your product and service offerings. You're going to be connecting with brands, but you're also going to be building out your systems. And what I mean by that is, remember, in month 2, when I talked about niching down, how you're going to want to eventually repurpose and blah, 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 blah. Well, it's time for that now. After a couple of months of posting content, you're hopefully going to be able to, again, make some decisions about that content. You're going to see, when I talk about 5 tips for graphic designers, those videos do super well. Cool. What we're going to do now with that YouTube video is we're going to chop that up, or even we're going to refilm that concept a little bit in a more casual TikTok friendly way and post that over there so that we can start building and expanding our reach a little bit more. So figure out what that process is going to be for you. Obviously, it depends on where you're starting, but for me, that involves, okay, we've got the weekly podcast. That is like my primary piece of content. That is my bread and butter. If I had to get rid of everything except for one thing, the one thing I would keep is the podcast, the video podcast, because I'm able to do so much with it. I'm able to pull the audio and make it a podcast. So you can listen to this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, as well as watch it on YouTube. I can also chop it up because it's a longer, I've got some meat to it. This episode's probably going to be 30 minutes or so. I can chop that up into 30-second clips, 60-second clips, 90-second clips to work on all of the different social media platforms, from YouTube Shorts to Instagram Reels to LinkedIn to TikTok. And I can also transcribe that video and grab the text and reshape that into a blog post if I wanted to get more SEO value there. I can also use it for my email marketing, which this is super important. At this point, once you've kind of established a regular cadence, a regular maybe series or format that you're starting to get known for, activate that email list. Again, go over, sign up for ActiveCampaign if you haven't yet at this point. Create an email list that people can opt into and start sending out weekly newsletters or however often it is that you are posting content. This can be just so beneficial as, number one, it's a second reminder for people. They might have seen your YouTube video in their feed, but they were busy, they were at work, whatever, they forgot about it. Boom. Stagger those emails, send it out a little bit later, and now they're getting a second reminder, or they're seeing it, as they're scrolling before bed or whatever the case may be. But it's also great because it can send traffic to those videos or pieces of content. And typically, for most of the social platforms, the more people that engage early on, the better. It sends a signal to Instagram or YouTube, whatever platform, like, okay, people are liking this because people are flocking to it immediately. They're not waiting to tell Latasha how much they like this video. So then they're going to send it out to more people in the algorithm. So activating that email list, having a system for writing those emails, that means coming up with your templates. For example, you can build out templates in ActiveCampaign, which is really cool, so that it's just super plug and play. Every week now, I've got my YouTube video. I've got, 5 things I'm going to recommend. I've got a quote of the day, whatever however you want to structure that. But it's really plug and play. You've built out a system for it, so it doesn't feel like a chore anymore. And it's something that you can delegate in the future if you choose to, once you start making some money from this thing. And in month 6, that's when I recommend that you really start to pitch. Realistically, I think if you've done all of these steps, I think it is totally possible to sell out a launch for something if you're going to launch a service or a digital product that would enable you to, get the funds that you need to quit your day job and go full time. Or you would hopefully be able to figure out a way to work with a brand if you've built up a following. Maybe you are able to nail down a couple of contracts for sponsorships, or you start to see affiliate sales come in if you've been using them throughout this strategy. So yeah, start selling, start launching if it's going to be a digital product or a service. I talk about that a lot on my YouTube channel and in my podcast. So there's tons of videos and episodes about, how to really do that. But if you want to work with brands specifically, I think it's important to use your email list as proof, because it's just like the whole, how do you get a job when you've never had a job, right? How do you do that? How do you show experience when you've never had experience? Well, I think your email list can kind of be your brand work that you've done to some extent. If you can say, okay, I posted this YouTube video, and from this one YouTube video, I got 100 email signups. That is proof of an active audience. That is proof of, potential to convert for that brand. And you can use that and frame it, put it together in a little write up in your media kit. And that will give them a lot more faith in you that you'll be able to actually sell for them. Of course, you can do the same thing with affiliate links. If you work with any brands as an affiliate, you can share with them, those metrics, but you want to be able to have something that shows that your audience is actually active and that they're not just people who like to watch your free videos on TikTok or whatever, but they're actually an active part of the community and they are, willing to take action when you recommend something. I also think email newsletter sponsorships are way slept on in the content creator world. I think, we always forget about them, but I know just how valuable my email list is. And my email list is over 30,000 people. So that is a lot of people that are being reached through my content just by one simple email. So again, this is why it's so important to start building up that email list on, month 2 or 3, so that you can actually speak to that and put that in your media kit, which is basically like a content creator resume, and use that to talk to brands and just kind of add to your overall social cachet, if you will. So that's what I would do if I had to start over from scratch and I wanted to become a full-time content creator. I really hope that this was helpful for you. Let me know if you have any questions about anything or any ideas that maybe I didn't get to in this episode. And again, be sure to start thinking about that email list. Seriously, it is never too early. When I told you that I launched my first course at $19, do you want to know where that first sale came from? Came from my email list. It came from an email list that I had been building for maybe a few months and not emailing. I wasn't even sending newsletters out. I just heard that you're supposed to build an email list before you want to launch a course. So I did. And that's exactly where that sale came from. I actually have no idea who this person is still. I've never seen their face on social media. So thank you if you were that original first course purchaser, course student. But yeah, email lists are really, really powerful. So start thinking about that now. It really is not too early. And you can use my link to sign up for ActiveCampaign. I think they are just such a fantastic tool. So many amazing features, so user-friendly, and just really a robust tool. They offer a lot more than some of the other email marketing platforms that I've used in terms of segmentation, tagging, automations, and so much more. So thanks so much to ActiveCampaign for sponsoring today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.